And we're live. Tom Panos, Phil Tarrant, Real Estate Exposed special. The Block 2003 edition. Tom Panos, winners are grinners. How you going?
All good, man. I'm really excited. I'm really happy. I've been away. I did a conference for you guys on Thursday and Friday. Then I took the plane straight from there, went to Melbourne. The auction was on Saturday, Phil. I know people watch it on a Sunday, but the auction was on Saturday. So I've been in Melbourne on this weekend, and yeah, like you saw it, we were liaising on the phone. Hey, you know what's the most bizarre thing? On TV, my auction went there for 2 minutes. In real life, it went for 49. I had the longest auction.
Wow.
Longest auction, probably on the block from the minute I finished, started to the minute I finished. But you know, that's edits and TVs, and that's how it works. And I've got to tell you, I feel this morning for the auctioneer on property number 3. Because there's a lot of chatter. I mean, I went to the gym and I've had a coffee at a place, and all people would saying, "Oh, what about that guy?" Man, I watched that auction, Phil. Listen, the edit, it's all in the edit. You come from a world of media, right? And you know that you can say a whole paragraph, but they take one sentence out of that paragraph, explanation mark finishes, and you're defined by that sentence.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, I'm over the moon. Phil, without trying to sound like too much of a boaster, 2 years in a row, back to back, only auctioneer that's got 5 million on both properties last year and this year. Last year broke the record in the history of the block, 1.6 over reserve, never been done. And they said it will never be happen again, and it did. Got even a higher one, 1,650. So they won 1,750. They win 1,750.
Yeah, that's a nice check for those two, and good luck to them. And for all those contestants who, gave up time, energy, and effort, time away from families in their careers to do that. It's a big commitment. It's good they get an outcome from it. But a couple of observations from me, Tom, as a consumer of the block, and I'll caveat a few things here. Number one, the only episode of the block that I watched this year was the last one. I had no idea going into it. I'm sort of a bit beyond watching the trials and tribulations of the inter-house fighting and all that sort of stuff. It's not for me. So I watched the last one just so I can have this chat with you every single year. And to your point, Tom, what the block does not show on TV, I watched it over a nice glass of champagne, and we were obviously texting. I was trying to get the inside word on it. Mate, it looked like, I'm going to say it, it looked like your house, the way they edited it, and you talk about the edit, would have gone for that anyway without the skills of you as an auction. You said a couple of words, mate, and it went up to $5 million, and it's all about the edit, absolutely all about the edit. I'll take the point around the other auction here on house number 3, which was it Christie's and Brett's one. Only made 75 grand. That's a big knock on the chin for those guys. Particularly, they probably thought going into it they're going to be instant millionaires like the original 2 houses. But that's the first point. The second point, Tom, is, and we're obviously, this is Real Estate Exposed. We're streaming live on Tom Panos's Facebook page and social media. Also REB. We're also running this across real estate business and smart property investment and some of their other products here. The block is not a show about property. The block is, it's entertainment at best, because in any environment, in any market conditions, if you were going to auction that first house that you auctioned, Tom, it wouldn't have gone for $5 million. It's just impossible that it would have gone for $5 million when the reserve was set at 3.2. So the reserve is way out of whack, or someone's way overpaid for it, and it's got to be the latter. Have they overpaid for that property? Is it worth $5 million?
No, it's not. If you ask for a normal consumer, even Kylie Charlton, see Kylie on here, she works that area. That's the area she works. I've already spoken to agents that work that area. Values of properties in that area hover around the $2.5 million, right? So the answer is no. The answer is most of the other properties, roughly, they went for around 3, except for one other that went for 4. So you're probably right. those prices were well, for the two properties were a lot higher. Listen, Phil, the one that I did went for 5 million. There's another one that went for 2,980,000 or 3 million. I don't even know. I'm like you. I've watched 3 episodes of The Block, me auctioning each year. That's it. I don't watch anything else. It's actually a bit embarrassing because a guy came up to me afterwards and shook my hand. He said, "Well done, mate." And I said, "Congratulations." I thought he was a real estate agent. I go, "Good luck. I hope you go out and smash it today, mate. And I hope you get some good bids and you hit it hard." And he goes, "Mate, I'm a contestant." And I just stared at him and I just told him straight. I said, "Listen, the only contestants I know is Steph and Gian because I met with them for the auction." But Phil, if you can just look, okay. So yeah, I agree with you.
And it's
That
okay.
is excessive value.
It's okay. It's good TV. Like, it's good TV, and that's okay. I think that the point is, Tom, how do people who are actually interested in making money in property and understanding market fundamentals not to get too carried away with some of the results of the auction last night? It's a real world market. Real estate, the price of a property is what anyone's willing to pay for it in the day. And guess what? Yesterday, on Sunday, someone was willing to pay $5 million and $4 million for those block properties. So that's what they're worth, aren't they?
Mm. I think what they're worth is, I think also, Phil, you have to understand that the currency and the prize that people are involved in on the block is different to real life. I mean, I've got to tell you, you've got to be a chameleon. At the end of the day, I know when I go auction on the block, that guy that's going to buy my property most likely won't be living it in there. Why is he bidding? Why is he bidding? So my head goes straight down. Get back, peel the onion, get down to the bottom layer. What is the driver of this person? And what the edit doesn't show you in the 47 minutes was there is how many times I pumped up Adrian Portelli's company. What the edit doesn't show is how many vendor meetings and how many buyer meetings I had prior to auction with people. What the auction in those 30 seconds or 40 seconds doesn't show is what you had said to the buyers are the potential things that are going to happen and what you told them to do. So that's the difference with an auction. I know Adrian Portelli bought mine. He's a person that needs the media because it drives his brand and his business. And you need to know that as an auctioneer because it affects the way that you address and speak to him during the auction, right? They cut it out in the edit. Channel 9 didn't put the edit, but during the auction, like he wasn't to know, I kept on saying, "Well done, LMCT Plus. That's the money man. That's the man." Kept promoting his business, right? And mate, people like people that like them.
And I'm happy you answered that question that way, Tom, because and I think this gives some insights into why you're regarded as not only a great sales coach in real estate, but also the auctioneer that other auctioneers try and emulate. Every single auction is different. It's getting down to why people will buy and being able to tactically drive a auction result with that in mind, and you do it time and time again. So really the price is irrelevant, 5 million, 4 million, whatever it is. It was your ability to actually understand the nuances of the environment, the nuances of the room, the nuances of the attitudes of the people and the profile in the actual room of the auction day, and drive that price upwards. I'd like to see the full auction. I think the block should do little outtakes, or the block extras, whatever they call them, and show that whole 45 minutes, 47 minutes of your auction to actually see how you go about doing it. Because I think that would probably dispel a lot of questions and actually give some real inside view into how a good auctioneer is a master of their craft.
So, I mean, to give you an example, I'm not quite sure because I know that they run very quickly through the edit. They've got about 12 hours, really daytime hours, to do the edit from Saturday to Sunday. But I mean, look, I was at my auction, so I can tell clearly from start to finish. I wasn't at a lot of the other auctions, but I can tell you some of the things that were said there at one stage. I said to Adrian Portelli, when the bid was at 3,999,000, I looked at Adrian Portelli and I said, "I've got to let you know, one hot day doesn't make a summer. Are you the real deal?" right? They don't show. They didn't show that, right? They didn't show the fact that once he had got to 5 million, and I was sitting there and I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is the real deal. We officially do have a new man of the block, and the cameras should have been turning to Danny. That's the stuff that you don't see. And also, contrary, like I actually, and don't get me wrong, I realize there's an element of luck, right? There's an element of luck. And luck, look, I also have a view on that. You make your own luck. I get asked by most of the contestants, most of the last few years, to do their auctions. I'm not stupid. I'll go pick the house that I think has got the best chance of winning. There's no luck in that. There's me doing due diligence. There's me sitting there, going over to the property from Sydney there, sussing out, getting a feel of, hey, do I think that regardless of renovation, does this home have the KPIs, land size, situation, facing? All these things matter for you. I mean, I know that because in 35 years of real estate, you got to accept the position and the land size and the aspect. They're not changeable, right? So even if you stuff up in the reno, that can be changed. And a lot of these houses, they go off and they do change things to people that buy them, right? But what you can't change is the position, whether it's north facing. You can't change the size of the block of land. And any valuer that does, if you get a proper valuation done, the valuation is highly dependent on the dimensions of the block, the dimensions of the land, you know.
So just pulling that apart then, Tom. So they say, Tom, will you be an auctioneer this year? You say yes. You get to choose. So you get first crack at what you choose. You're just not assigned someone.
Oh, so I know Channel 9 don't approach me. Contestants approach me, right?
Oh, contestants approach you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Contestants approach me. And I get approached. And I'll get approached by most of them next year because the average person turns around and says, oh, well, he got 1.6 million last year, got 1.7 this year. We'll give him a go. And we'll see.
I'm selling some properties now. Can you auction my properties, mate? I'm trying to sell some stuff 100%. Right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. You got a bit of real estate, because I know you've been selling a few things, and there's a couple there for sale. You've collected a few properties along the way, haven't you, Phil?
I'll try to, but and this is the point, Tom. You know, the block is good TV. What I try and discuss and try and unwrap and try and give common sense to with you amongst a bunch of other people I rely on is the realities of real estate. You know, how do you actually play the real estate game? How can you transact your way through real estate to create wealth? And that's very much what we do here at Momentum, is what we do on Smart Property Investment and all of our other products. But and that is a key thing. Viewers need to understand that what they see on the block might not necessarily play out like that in the real world. However, I am conscious of the work that goes behind the scenes with a lot of these auctions, and you know, contestants approach you. They would get probably go through the same listing process, I would imagine, with identifying an agent. What you said is absolutely critical. The work that happens before auction will determine what happens on auction day. So you need a really good agent, you need a really good strategy, and you need to actually understand and have your auctioneer well briefed in about what your expectations are, but also how they're going to play that auction game. So how many pre-auction meetings did you do, Tom, with potential buyers? And this is the big, you know, you read the mainstream media, they'll say, oh, this is all beaten up and rigged and stuff because all this happened beforehand and stuff. That's how auctions work, right?
Yeah, so firstly, Phil, there's a thing called the game plan. And for me, the game plan, whether I'm doing the auction on the block or whether I'm doing an auction, normal, traditional real estate, first thing I want to ask you is reserve. I want to know what the no less than figure is, which means no less, don't start less than this. I need to understand in my head, and I agree with the clients and with the agent, what are the minimum increments I'm going to take at various price points. That's very important. What are the increments at various price points? I didn't have to do it on the block, whether it was edited or not edited. It didn't happen on that block. But every Saturday, I'm saying no to bids because I am not going to get caught up and hung on a low bid. So this is what can happen if you get smart bidders. They put in a low bid. no one else bids, they put you under pressure, you take it, then another person comes along and gives you only a small bid, no one else is bidding, you take it, and before you know it, you're hung down with a hook at a low number, and then you're sort of getting to a position where you're begging for bids. And I never beg for bids. If you have a look at it, I threaten. My approach is very aggressive. The only power an auctioneer, Phil, has is the ability to threaten to sell, to take the property away from someone. That's the only thing. Sitting there and saying, please do it, please, please, that ain't going to change someone's mind, right? To answer your question, Portelli, between myself, the agent, Portelli would have probably had 10 interactions prior to auction. 10 interactions prior to auction. I had meetings with everyone. There was other bidders there. Like Danny, I speak to him prior to auction. Adrian, the other bidder that is represented by Frank, I speak prior to auction. I speak to them. I suss them out. I understand. And the most important thing is, I've got to say, Phil, a guy summed it up yesterday when I was in Melbourne, because he watches my Facebook auctions. He goes, I think people like the fact that you don't come across as this stock and station auctioneer type guy. You come across as a guy that is talking bids, not calling bids, right? I talk to people at an auction the way I would talk to them at the pub. You don't hear me saying, 80 the bid. You know, it's not, you know, and part of it is I've been trained to understand that you can't assume, Phil, that everyone's going to understand you. We live in a very cultural, diverse, you know, world, right? You got to work with people at where they're at. I mean, yesterday I did an auction. Yesterday afternoon when I came back, I did an auction, and I insisted, Phil, that the person be writing down the bids and showing the buyer. Phil, I'm going to ask you a favor. I'm going to get you to keep talking for a moment. I've got to urgently take a phone call, right? Because they're waiting for me, but I want to continue this conversation. Maybe can you give me a minute or two?
Sure, I can. You know, I want to give everyone a real world insight into Tom Panos while he's on the phone. What he's chatting about there, and thanks, Tom, for throwing me to the deep end. But Tom does mention the point around what you see, Tom, on his Facebook Lives and his Instagram and his TikTok and all his other social channels is very much the Tom Panos you see any given day. And I speak to Tom quite at a reasonable level. We normally text each other on a Saturday, and I get sort of the inside word on auctions. It helps sort of frame my decision making around real estate and just really measure the market. But I do trust his insights and where he thinks the market's going. But what you do see with Tom Panos as he's in his public persona is absolutely what you see Tom behind the scenes. He doesn't change his language. He doesn't change his demeanor. He doesn't change how he goes about doing his things. And I think that's what resonates with people at auction days. He spoke about being the chameleon, and I think he does it very, very well. He can, and for those of you who don't know which areas Tom operates within, he operates around the inner city, the Belmore, the Bankstown areas, which has a very culturally diverse environment, and he's able to connect and resonate with most people. And I think the reason why is that, and he sort of mentioned it there, I see he's back online, it's this sort of element of vulnerability, which I think resonates with people. He's not the stock and station agent. He's not the traditional auctioneer that you would expect to be. He shows, he shows his vulnerabilities, and he shows he's the everyman, and therefore that resonates. And I think that's what gets the results that he gets. But I mentioned it before, last night was a masterclass in auctioning. It's your job as the auctioneer is to get the absolute best price you can for the seller. And there's many, many different ways you do that, but you need to actually understand the psychology of why people are buying and the psychology of how people bid. And Tom won't tell you too much about this, but he's actually quite reasonably well academically qualified with undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in business coaching, a lot of it around psychology. So he certainly uses that. He hides it. He hides it well in the shadows, but he uses that every single day to do his job in a highly effective and skillful way. And that's what I like about Tom, amongst other things.
So Phil, look, all I'll say, and I'm not for one moment do I not take into account there's an element of luck for vendors and agents at auctions. I see that. I see that all the time. A buyer pulls out of nowhere, comes in and bids, hasn't even looked at the property. They're the neighbor. Neighbors go crazy on it. And then there's bad luck. I had bad luck yesterday with a property at Belmore. There was, 3 people pull out of the auction um, um, on the day of the auction because they read an article which scared them, which was not factual, and it was just bad luck for that vendor that this article appeared on the day of the auction. That's luck, right?
Yeah, but and again, you make your own luck, Tom. But look, just on that point, very quickly, and I don't know what article you're referring to, but no doubt it was probably around interest rate increases, which may happen tomorrow when the Reserve Bank of Australia meets the first Tuesday of the month. This is the new Reserve Bank Governor's first announcement, and we note that next year the cadence of RBA meetings is going to scale back a little bit, so maybe less chance from the raised rates. But was that article around potential rises in interest rates, Tom, and therefore they didn't want to bid? That's what happens.
Yeah, it was, and that's they never showed up. But I've got to say, Phil, my view with interest rates and real estate, I'm a lot more chilled out with than rates because I've been buying like you real estate for a long time. I bought my first property when I was around 19 or 20 years of age in Victoria Road, Punchbowl. And I've got to tell you, you take out a loan, the loan rates on the loan go up and down for the term of the loan. What's the average term of a loan someone's going to have? 20 years. So really, you date interest rates, but you actually marry the property. Don't get too hung up on the fact that your interest rates is a fling. Today they're 4%. Next year they're 6%. The year after they're 2%. Right? They go up and down. You don't make a permanent decision on temporary data.
You date the interest rate. You marry the
house.
Where do you get this from? Where did that pop into your head one day? Just driving along, just went, oh yeah.
No, I was at an auction. I clearly remember. I was at Padstow, and I said to the guy, "Give me another 5,000, sir." He goes, "No, I don't know if you heard. Interest rates went up last Tuesday." I said, "Do you like the house?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, you're marrying the house. You're only dating interest rates." And I thought, bang! Everyone just, their eyes popped up. You can say 50 things and nothing works, and then you say one, it works, and then you keep it. That's what speakers do.
I like it, Tom. So back to the block. A couple of questions. Do they tell you what to say when you're on the block on front of TV? Are they scripting you at all? They just go, "Tom, do your thing."
Yeah, but they don't show it. The first one is Channel 9 will sue anyone that takes any of this information and publishes it before the airing of the block. So there's a long thing I read out to everyone there. And they reserve their right. Then I read out all the terms word for word, which is boring, but I have consumer affairs. They're at the block. The same inspectors have been there year in, year out. I actually even tell the inspectors prior, this is what I'm reading out prior to the block. They say, yep, great. So they're the only 2 things. The rest of the stuff, that you can do whatever you want.
Okay. Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy doing it?
I've enjoyed. Look, so far so good. All 3, yeah. Luke and Josh. I've to me, the 3 people I've had are 3 groups of people that if I wasn't doing their auction, I'd have a good time with. Right? Steph and Gian, I can relate. Greek Italian heritage, inner Westies, Sydney couple. Oz and Omar was brought up with people of Lebanese descent in Belmore, Lakemba, do auctions in Greenacre. They made me laugh. Luke and Josh, 2 guys. If Luke and Josh rang me up to go to the pub and they hadn't won the block or weren't there, they make me laugh. 2 brothers, I could relate to them. Their dad's got, the dad goes through chemo. So I like it. I reckon the clients that you have, a lot of it's. I think that helps a lot. The bits that I don't like is having to leave 13, 14 auctions in Sydney to get one auction fee. In Melbourne, having to sleep away from home, having to have other people control your life on the day, which is Channel 9. They're sort of saying, you've got to come here, you've got to do that, stop, start, ambulance is coming. Like that's another thing. A person fainted during my auction,
Yeah,
ambulance came. We stopped the auction. The auction stopped for half an hour, right?
Wow.
It's very long auction, very long.
Yeah. And that was a bidder. That was supposed to be a bidder for that fifth property, I think they said, potentially.
No, it was a bidder on my property too. They were there. They'd come to bid on. They were there for my property. They were bidding on that property.
Do you reckon?
So I lost that bid.
Yeah, you've got this, the usual suspects rocking up to bid at these auctions. Now, Danny, Adrian, Frank Valletta, who is a buyer's agent, Hughesy's there. Like, how are they going to get some new blood in there to bid? Like, you would just assume watching the show that there's only 4 or 5 bidders there. Is there actual other people there who are ready to buy, like genuine bidders?
I don't know about the other properties. I know for my property, it was 1, 2, Adrian, Portelli, another Adrian, Frank Valletta, another guy who was going to bid, but it went out of it. There was, apart from Adrian and Danny, I did have another 4 bidders on my properties.
Okay. Yeah,
4 people that were going to bid.
4 people are going to bid. Any other questions coming through, Tom? You can, I'm sure. And if anyone's got any questions direct for Tom, where you get the chance, it's a good opportunity to do it. Well, are all the cameras in your face the whole time? Is there a lot of is it subtle or is it like full on when you're on the auction floor there at the block?
Well, there's your main camera. There's one main camera, and they tell you that's your main camera. But I let the camera follow me. I don't follow the camera, right? Because if I follow the camera, I can't be focused on actually the bids because I'm actually having my brain calories go spend time on another issue. I let the camera follow me. I just do my thing, I just want to be relaxed and take my jacket off, roll up the sleeves, I know my daughter would be saying, "Oh, Daddy, you should have put your suit on. You shouldn't have had your sleeves hanging like that. Should have shaved." Just prefer.
Well, this is the authenticity, right? Just do what you do, and I think a lot of real estate agents can learn from that, and auctioneers and other people that operate in and around property, because I think a lot of people in real estate, this is for our REB audience and all those agents tuning in, try and emulate someone else and try and be that person and act and behave like them, thinking that that's how they should go about building their career through real estate. Whereas there's something about being yourself, Tom, isn't there?
Yeah, Rebecca, I'll answer this question. The first 2 blocks I've done last year and the year before, they did nothing. This year, I'm about to start, and a guy comes up. He goes, "Oh, how do you feel about if we put some makeup on?" I said, "We didn't do it the year before. The year before." He goes, "I'm telling you, you're going to look better." So they quickly just got this girl come around from next door, and she just went pat, 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 2-3 minutes. So I did actually have makeup on yesterday.
Do you think you look better?
I wasn't happy about that. I didn't think. No, I never liked. I never like watching myself and listening to myself. Anyway, I think a lot of people are like that. Yeah. So Phil, we got about 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you watch a block with your family last night?
No. My daughters never watch it. My wife. No, I watched it. I watched it on my own.
Yeah. Okay.
They haven't watched it.
Yeah. Any other questions? We're going to go in a couple of minutes, Tom. Anything coming through there?
Do you think the producers should change the rules and redistribute the prize money after a certain point? Stefan Gian won 25 times more than the lowest team. Should the auction start at 3.2 million? There's a couple of questions there. Should they distribute the prize money? Probably not. I think gamification is part of our life. If you think, Penrith Panthers don't say, "Oh, we're going to share the trophy with the team." They don't do that. No one does it in sport. Djokovic doesn't turn around and say, "Oh man, I was lucky today. You deserve it." Should the auction start at 3.2 million? Well, I'm not. I mean, I told you what I think, Phil. I think that you shouldn't. You should have a no less than figure that you're going to start off with, and even if you have to use a vendor bid. What's this question here? Someone told me that the land value in the area is about 2.2 million. When you add building costs for getting it built for around 1 point, building cost houses should sell for around 4.4 million. Someone told me the land. I'm not sure. Why do you always win? Because I'm smart, David. Margaret, the show could be cancelled. It has caused a housing crisis. Margaret, I don't think the show has caused a housing crisis. I don't think the house has caused a housing crisis. Let's see what other questions. Com could have actually all on the block, one after the other. He's fam. Yeah, I like you. Yeah, Christine, you're 100% right. I won't read it all there, but it's a compliment. You can't. I don't think you can. I don't think you can auction every house, because I think what will happen is it would be difficult to sort of be representing one party, then go to the next one. I don't think so, Phil. But we're very keen, Phil. We really do need to start having a weekly conversation about behind the scenes real estate. Today's behind the scenes about the block, but I've got to tell you, the block is one day of the year. Real estate is every day of the year. Every day of the year is real estate. So we're going to kick it all up and running next year, Phil. So, Phil, it's great to see you again. I've got to get on to a meeting. I should have been more intelligent about the way I spaced my day. And, I'm going to bring Phil. Yeah, we should bring Phil down to the block, 100%. Maybe REB. REB needs to be there. I know Channel 9 are going to have your hand cut, but being there, you could be there. You can actually come and buy something, Phil, You got money.
Oh.
You got money. You should buy something, Phil.
Lazy 5 million sitting around, put into a property worth 3.5 million. Mate, I'm a property investor. I'm not looking for celebrity status, mate.
Anyway, Phil, it's good to see you again. We have to catch up face to face before Christmas.
Mate, absolutely. And we'll see everyone back for Real Estate Exposed next year. See you guys.
This is it. Actually, Todd, I've got to tell you, very underrated. Show respect to every possible person. And in fact, the one thing I'll say, Phil, if you come to my auction, someone said to me, how do you do 10, 13 auctions every Saturday? I talk as less as possible during the auction. Don't make it about you. It's about the buyers. It's their time. It's about the vendors. It's about the property. I think it's a very, very important thing you do. And we saw it in previous years. When you disrespect the buyer reacts. We even saw elements of it this year. Phil, we'll see you soon.